the angry comics. We still get to put an S on the end because there's 2 of us in this room.
Yeah.
We're missing Tim Bannister today. He had something he had to take care of, and there's some miscommunication. We said we're just going to do it anyway. So here we are. 2 angry comics, and also the O'Brien sisters.
Yeah, and we happen to be sisters. Like, look at this. Look at the mirror image. Other side. There it is. Look at that. That's mirror. That's uncanny how we are so connected.
We're just so connected. That's so connected. But yeah, so we're here today on the show. We got lots of things to talk about. First up, right out of the gate, bang, bam. Let's just say it. Roe versus Wade.
Wow is right. So
here's what happened. This wasn't even like, people didn't realize that. I mean, people did realize that they were reviewing this right now, and someone leaked some of their, I guess, I don't know if it was their verdict or some of the information they were reviewing. I'm not sure what exactly was leaked. However, I'll say that it was this never happens. You never leak this. So the fact that whoever did this needs to hang, like they literally need to go to jail for doing this. They were that
it was done purposely. Did you feel like it was done on purpose? Like, come on.
Well, like what could they be distracting us from?
Oh, so many things, right? Like, which one do they not want us to look at right now?
Okay, because let's be honest, we have learned this in the media. When the media tells you to look in this direction, Ukraine, look in the other direction. So tell us, Jen, what do you think that they don't want us to look at?
Well, first off, this was not me, so I can't be like, oh, I'm so enlightened. Like everything pretty much I learn through how other people see it. And there was this, somebody had been tweeting or Getter. It was on Getter or Get, whatever it is. Talking about, 2000 Mules is out this week.
Yes.
And, that is Dinesh D'Souza. I don't know. I always say his name wrong.
D'Souza. He went to jail?
Kaiser Sensei. I don't know. What?
Did you know he went to jail just for political contributions?
I think he's been to jail a few times because he's very controversial and creating all these like documentaries. But this one, I want to show the trailer.
Okay, let's see it.
There's a few trailers out right now. The one that got me, the very first one, it's super good. But I want to show the extended trailer.
Ooh.
Let me, I know, extended trailer. So it's a little long. It's 3 minutes.
Okay.
But
put your phone down. Pay attention.
Put your phone down and pay attention. Hold on.
Look up here. That's what I hear the preacher say sometimes. Look up here. When he says that, you're like, oh, how'd you know that my brain was off in the other direction?
He knows you. He's like, okay.
For those ADD people.
I know. That's all right. Let's see. This one is.
It's
2000 Mules.
2000 Mules. Let me give you a little bit more data while you're looking this up. Did you find it?
Okay. Yeah. Here we're about to share. And let me see what that looks like on this end. And then let me come back here. I'm going to make it real big. Make it real big now. Okay. Let's listen.
Okay.
The most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. Let me say it again.
The 2020 election was the most secure
election in American history.
Let me begin by asking a very simple question. Do we know the truth about what really happened in the 2020 election?
I think millions of Americans know something went wrong, and they have little pieces, and no one's really put it together.
I'm agnostic on this question, and I am awaiting more information.
If I believed the president were a Nazi, I might steal an election.
Bold accusations require bold evidence, and they haven't seen it.
We have been working on something big.
Show me the money.
Can we meet? I've been working with Greg Phillips. He has a deep background in election intelligence.
True the Vote has the largest store of election intelligence for the 2020 elections in the world. No one has more data than we do. We identified in Atlanta 242 mules that went to an average of 24 drop boxes. But Philadelphia alone, we've identified more than 1,100 mules.
What is a mule?
Person picking up ballots and running them to the drop boxes.
This is not grandma out walking her dog. bad backgrounds, bad reputations. They are interested in one thing, that's money.
And in no shape, in no way, in no time is that legal.
This is organized crime.
Do you have video evidence?
4 million minutes of surveillance video around the country.
What you're about to see is disturbing.
So this is 1 o'clock in the morning.
Don't we all vote at 1 o'clock in the morning?
On one night, this person, this mule, went across
6 counties to 27 different drop boxes.
I call it the Mexican mafia, seriously, because they work like that.
This is jaw-dropping. What you showed is frightening.
It's just sickening to me.
Now we come to the most important question of all. Was the magnitude of vote trafficking enough to tip the balance in the 2020 presidential election?
It's not a leap to say this would have made a difference.
They have ruined Election Day in the United States of America. That's provable. And that's enough for me to fight the left with every fiber in my body.
Without free and fair elections, we are not a democracy. We are a criminal cartel masquerading as a democracy.
2,000 mules.
Yeah.
May 2nd and 4th.
Oh, that's
May 7th.
Yeah. So first of all,
May 8th at Salem Now or locals.
okay.
yeah. So wow.
I kind
Right?
of got chills there because I mean it's the truest statement is that you can have all the beliefs you want. You can believe on this side, you can believe on that side. But if your elections aren't safe, then it doesn't matter what you believe in. That's like you have to have a safe election first. What is the will of the people? That matters.
Yeah.
Because we've seen power and money corrupts. And,
Right.
I
This
have
should
a voice. I want my vote to count.
Right. This should alarm both sides. This isn't a Republican Democrat issue. This is an integrity issue. And if we don't fix it, and I remember Hillary Clinton going on interviews saying the election was stolen. She was going on, that whole Russia thing. But it's like, so do they think that problem, even if that was true, which I don't believe it is, do they think that problem just went away because it went in their favor this time? Like it's a real issue. And I hope this wakes a lot of folks up.
Right. Because you want to think about that. Like if I don't know, sometimes put the shoe on the other foot. If you, like, let's even take censorship, for example. You're like, oh, well, they're censoring what I believe in, so I don't care. Well, what if the shoe was on the other foot and suddenly conservatives are in power and they're censoring you? How do you feel about that now? I mean, people need to look at it both sides. Like freedom is for everybody.
Yeah.
Good elections, free elections, that's for everybody. This benefits all people and your grandchildren. So.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. And I'm excited. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go and watch it in theaters, but I'm definitely going to stream it on the 7th. I think that's Saturday, I don't know what May 7th is, but anyway, I find it very interesting, kind of like the Ukraine thing, right? Like there's so many things. So I'm wondering, is Roe versus Wade like trying to be like, hey guys, you're about to have a victory over here?
Well, let's talk about something. I think there's other things that the Roe versus Wade thing is coming up to light for. The other thing, 2 things that have come out in the past 24 hours. One is about pilots. I don't know if you realize this, but last year they did every year the Pilots magazine does a spread of honoring the people who died. Normally it's like 1 to 6 people a year. It was 100. I know that's crazy talk. But the thing that came out was that Dr. Peter McCullough, who is the most published renal and cardiologist in the world, came forward and he had said that pilots are suffering from the vaccines in the heart, and the data is totally there on that. To say that it's not causing a problem, you're being misinformed. I think the CDC tried to downplay some of those heart conditions and say, well, it's only temporary. These people are recovering. No, cardiologists will tell you that myocarditis is like a long, slow-term problem that does not go away. So you need to be very careful with that. I mean, any viral myocarditis, but actually vaccine myocarditis is what they're seeing is more dangerous. Even, you need to do your research, people. You can sit there and read what the headlines say, or you can spend an hour and go actually read what all the studies say and form your own opinion. I invite you to. There you go. Cardiologist estimates 30% of U.S. pilots may have COVID jabs-induced heart conditions. Right.
Well, did you hear about the pilot? I believe it was a couple weeks ago. Basically landed a plane. I think it was, yes, and literally, right. I think it's for United. Basically had a stroke, or basically went into a stroke of some sorts. But by the grace of God, he had landed that plane safely. And then they took him out, and he's had surgeries and I think stents put in. However, the concern, right around that time, my daughter was flying and out, and I've never thought about that as a concern. Like, wow, is this pilot who's now flying me wherever, has he or she been jabbed, and what are the consequences, and could they go into something? And it's very alarming, to be quite honest with you.
And I think that here's the deal. The pilots picked up on this pretty early because they were the ones who really unionized on this one. We're like, stop. We will stop flying these airplanes if you make us keep taking these, because I think they were the early adopters, and they were the ones who were seeing the problems in their own ranks.
Yeah.
It was the Airline Pilot magazine. It's called Airline Pilot Association, ALPA magazine. In their October note, they have an October-November edition. It shows one pilot passed away in 2019, 6 passed away in 2020, and 111 passed away the first 9 months of 2021. Now, regardless, if you want to say it's not vaccine induced, that it's all COVID induced, whatever, let's get to the bottom of it. Like, this is very serious. And if we don't have open collaboration where doctors and scientists are allowed to come together and share their information, and we keep having federal agencies shutting that down and calling it misinformation, we're not going to solve this problem. And if there's anything we've learned through all of this, is follow the money. And that's sickening. That's sickening to think that that's what we're coming up with.
Right.
But what do you got here? Not going to be silent.
Is this it?
Yeah, Airline Pilot Association.
Union Safeguard Airline. Yeah, providing pilots.
Right.
I don't know. I just pulled this article up. I'm not quite sure if this is the one you're referencing.
Well, it was Steve Kirsch. I don't know if you ever check out. There's a couple Substacks that I really like. Steve Kirsch, I love his Substack. I love Alex Berenson's Substack, Rounding the Earth with Matthew Crawford. These are the people who are doing deep dives on information and really sharing the facts and going out there and asking, I love Steve. He's out there saying, I am willing to go live on television and offer giving away $1 million if someone will come forward from one of these higher up agencies and talk to them about these facts. And no one seems to be taking the money. Maybe they're getting more money on the back end, but
sure.
That's just something to discuss. Let's see. The other thing is that there was a big Pfizer data dump. I don't know if you know this, but like Pfizer had tried to say, well, we don't want to show our data for 75 years, and they fought, and finally a judge was like, no, you're going to show it now. And which, that's more real science. Real science is doing safety studies. It's doing toxology studies. I mean, that's what real science is. And for some reason, because of these emergency use orders, we've kind of shifted a lot of what our standardization is for making these medicines come to market. And so, anyways, it was just quite interesting that apparently there's a brand new data dump. And what does the data show us is that the effective rate of the vaccines overall was only 12%, was one number I've seen. Another one is that it was never trialed in pregnant women. And it was only tested on 7 rats before it was given to them. And so the Pfizer vaccine has a very minimal rate of saving your life. It's showing a 0.83% chance. I mean, that's real. If this is true, then why are we mandating it? Why are we making it? Give people choice. If you want to take it, go ahead and take it. No one's saying you can't. To sit there and require it, that's, I think, where people are standing up saying, let me weigh the pros and cons, because there's some people have anaphylactic shock. Some people have reactions, and then they can't continue in their job because they can't say, I don't want any more. No one will write them a medical exemption. I mean, this is the world we live in, where it's like, I know this is going to hurt me, but I had to take it anyways. That's just disturbing. I'm all for
Well,
freedom.
I think what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of lawsuits to these companies that have been forcing. I mean, you're already seeing it. It's already happening.
There you go. The only way to make this stop is for people to start suing their businesses when they suffer these problems. And then once the businesses realize there's no money in it, because I know they're getting paid on the back end from the pharmaceutical companies, encouraging them, and even the Biden administration encouraging behind the scenes these larger companies to make these mandates. And everyone can choose for themselves. Choose for yourself, but offer choice, have freedom. Don't attach people's jobs, because that's called coercion.
Yeah. I mean, I think, where do you see this going? Like, I'm hoping we're done. I just saw another article. I think it was up in Rhode Island. I believe they're trying to push for fines now. If you have not received the jabs, that you are going to get a fine.
Rhode Island is doing that. They're trying to tie that to the unvaccinated to their tax returns. And that is, it may have already been shut down. I mean, all this stuff is, technically, eventually this will all get shut down in a court of law, because there is no, you're violating people's rights. I mean, eventually it will, but how many people get hurt in the process and wasting time, and it's not good.
So, do you think this is over? Like, what are you seeing now? I mean, I know you spent a lot of time researching COVID, and unfortunately now we're dealing with a lot of adverse reactions to the jab. I mean, where do you see more things coming? Are they trying to continue to?
I've learned some things this week. I heard the J&J can be quite is more dangerous than I realized. Some people are starting to hold up the Noravax as a possible thing. I haven't done a whole lot going down that avenue, but anywhere where I see people requiring it, eventually it'll take time. But here's what I know: do not drop the rope. If you are for freedom and that's what you choose, and I don't know, if you're sitting on the fence and you're agreeing with these government agencies who are requiring this, ask yourself this: what if one of your family members can't take it and suddenly the government is requiring them? Do you really feel comfortable in that, requiring someone who shouldn't take it? I mean, ask yourself that question. Like, it just is quite concerning to me.
Yeah. I mean, are they going to continue to say, "Oh, we got this variant"? I mean, do you think they're going to keep that gravy train going?
There is plenty of data that shows that variants are, when you introduce a new vaccine, that more variants get created from it. It's called vaccine-induced variants. It's out there. Go read the data. And if we're going to have another vaccine come out, here come more variants. It's just it's called, there's if you want to look it up, it's called Merrick's chickens. And there's a thing called leaky vaccines. There's one still virologist alive who's talking about it. Geert Van de Bosch is his name.
Why do you say still alive? Have they killed the other ones?
Yeah, they already did.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah. Well, he was an older man and he wasn't feeling well for some time, but he was severely mocked in amongst his community, and he won the 2008 a Nobel Prize for HIV research. And he was the one who was saying, I see autoimmune diseases that are going to crop up from these people who've taken the vaccines. And the data's out there. So why can't we talk about this? I just want people to understand the risk of it. You do what you want, but understand that there's people out there actively trying to not let you see the real risk that you're taking on.
Yeah.
And part of that is certainly early treatment suppression. If you have early treatment, and oddly, just came out this past week, Paxlovid, I believe that's the Pfizer antiviral that came out. What they're seeing is people who take it, the COVID will go down. And then when they finish their course of treatment, it ramps right back up again stronger, which is something they did see with some of the antivirals when some of they became stronger, like Delta. What you would take your antiviral dosing for the first one, Alpha, you needed to take more during Delta. And perhaps that is the answer, is that maybe you need to take more Paxlovid. I'm not too sure, because there's apparently a lot of, they call it contraindications, where you shouldn't mix it with certain other drugs. And there's a lot of heart drugs and I believe statin drugs that you shouldn't take if you're taking this. So a lot of Americans may be on a medication that really doesn't even work with Paxlovid. So then you go back to, well, what antivirals do work? Ivermectin has a 40-year, I just said it. I said the I word. There's a 40-year safety record on it.
Bleep it out. We'll bleep it out. We'll bleep it out in post.
So anyway.
So, I've been deep diving on the whole theory of COVID being snake venom. So I need to know from you, because you do a lot of work, and the frontline, are any of these other frontline doctors touching this theory, or is it just kind of petered out? I mean, I know Dr. Artis was on board. I talked to Dr. Calvin, who also thinks it's venom. I mean, and it mimics. I mean, we're talking about symptoms that are mimicking a snake bite, envenomation, COVID-19. Why are any of these doctors touching it? And if not, why?
They're not.
Why?
Because at this point they look at, I think, some FLCC doctors, I think, might be doing it, but I think there's a certain, I think they're kind of afraid to touch it. I mean, that's my opinion. I have no idea, but I think there's a certain, I think they want to be they want to be careful. And like anything, they want to be sure before they back this statement up, because it seems quite fantastical to most people. And they fought tooth and nail for credibility. So I think they're like, well, and who knows, perhaps Dr. Brian Artis is, I think there's something to it. And if anything, maybe he's dropped some seeds for someone to find the clue. That's what I think. There's breadcrumbs there, whether you believe that it's fully, as he says, that it's in water supplies or not. I think there's breadcrumbs there.
I think he's even kind of backed off the whole water thing. He's like, I just mentioned it. I don't think he's even holding oh, it's in the water, as much as, hey guys, look at this. This is mimicking snake envenomation, period. Right. Let's forget that it could be possibly in the water. Let's say, I believe they somehow have attached it to a virus to get it to go out in a viral level. But instead of saying, hey, this is coming from bats, I do think we're looking at smell and taste. Losing that is part of a snake bite victim. I mean, that mimics, and that would explain this unknown. Why are people losing smell and taste? It's such a weird, symptom.
I suffer from it myself. I had some when I got COVID in October, and then when I think I got a touch of it in January. It was really hard. I've actually had some touch getting it back.
You just got a touch of it in January. You got that Omicron.
I think so. I got it. I treated it pretty early, and I don't feel like it really affected me, but I do feel like my sense of taste and smell diminished after that one.
Well, you and I, you were so gracious as my older sister to give me Delta variant back in October. I know. I don't know if I've officially said thank you, but let's let this be the moment. Thank you, by the way, for that.
Hey, let's be honest though. Once you got COVID, I would say your fear goes away for the most part, if you had any at all, because you're like, I did it. We're done.
I was never afraid.
Well, you were not. I was still masking and making everybody mask. But once we got it, we're like, okay, well, we got it. So now we have antibodies. Even if we meet a variant, it's not going to affect us like it did before.
Yeah. Well, and the truth be told, I believe I had already had it back early on. And I'm not to say that I have it, like I didn't have it 3 different times. I mean, because I don't get sick, and
But have you had a cold 3 different times? Yes, people get colds.
Yeah. But, it's very interesting, though, how the symptom you and I are still dealing with. Every now and then my smell's still a little weird, like menthol. Anything mint kind of smells really awkward, and sometimes onions. And you and I have really strong sniffers. I mean, we do.
Okay,
we walk in.
I'm really excited because my strong sense of smell is coming back. Like I can smell my dog farting again. I'm really excited about that.
Oh, wow. Really? You're excited about that one? Okay. Well, it means
my kid's breath. I can smell my kid's breath. And it's more of subtle room smells that were kind of far away, where I used to be able to walk down the street and I could smell things at every single house I passed by.
Yeah.
That went away. But it's starting to slowly come back, some of that stuff. And I was taking a spray that had some Chinese herbs in it,
Are they ancient Chinese herbs?
They're ancient. Siberian ginseng. It's called Hercules. I think it works. I mean,
I heard zinc. I heard. I would up my zinc. I kept reading zinc. But then I've heard also,
what?
I've heard copper. I talked to Dr. Tal Braun, who
Okay.
also believes venom is COVID.
Okay.
He says, careful with all the zinc we're taking because you are depleting the copper in your system. So he actually has a product with copper. You're shaking your head. You've already heard this.
Yes. No, I think that's with anything. You take any sort of like mineral or too much of a metal or something, it's going to take so much of anything in your body. It's going to build up.
Yeah. Well, he mentioned that people are going to start getting sicker now because everyone was going headfirst into the zinc, but they forgot to bring in the copper.
Well, I was taking quercetin or however you say that word, quercetin as a prophylactic, because that was on the EVMS protocol.
Yeah.
And then which turned into the FLCC protocol.
Down with
FLCC. Pardon? FLCCC.
FLCCC.
Yep. Did I say it wrong?
I don't know. What is it? Frontline
Critical COVID Care Alliance. I always get it messed up.
I don't know. It's just a lot of. I'm like, you down with FLCC?
Yo. You know me. But anyways, yes, I think I took that and I started to have a reaction to it. So I think you take anything for too long or too much of it.
Yeah, it's got to be balanced, and I think
know your body.
Well, I have another, and we'll close on this because we're talking about Dr. Tal
What
Braun.
else you got? What else you got?
Well, he mentioned because he believes that venom is venom. Okay. Yep. And that it's not, obviously they're not grabbing snakes. I mean, you can synthetically produce it in labs, right? So they produced it, attached it, I think, maybe through gain of function, learn how to attach it to a virus. Boom. Right. However, here's a really cool part he mentions.
What's that?
The Seder dinner, the Passover dinner, right? Ooh. He connected this dot of the Passover dinner. And we all know the story about the Passover lamb, the blood, and how the death angel would pass over.
I celebrated Passover this year. Yes.
Right. I was with you. So he mentions the Seder supper having everything we need to fight this infection.
Really?
Being like eggs are what is that? Where the congealing of the
anticoagulant.
That thing. Yes. That like with the eggs, and then the lamb is a natural anti-venom. I've
heard that. Isn't that kind of creepy though? Think about like Satan is the snake, the lamb is the Lord Jesus.
So, and he talked about the bitter herbs having quercetin in them, some of them, and like all these things that have now been connected to help fight COVID-19/snake venom, in my opinion, that until that's proven wrong, it is a theory that I'm going to continue to explore.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I think it's there. You just got to keep, I just think they're going to keep bringing out the data. We'll get there.
We'll get there. And like Dr. Artis said, he deep dived for 4 months nonstop straight on this. So he's way far ahead than most of us. That are just now waking up. But anyway, interesting. I want to deep dive into a Seder dinner. Yeah. And I would like to, do a whole thing on each, the bitter herbs and the lamb and the egg and all the things that are in a traditional Seder dinner and how that equates to fighting COVID-19.
That's cool. Isn't that cool? That's so cool.
Oh, my mind was like chill. I had chills.
Great.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. Anything else? I mean, 2,000 Mules. So we're looking forward to that. I don't know if you guys, what you got. Hey, what do you got going on this weekend? You want to come watch 2,000 Mules? They're doing a live.
Yeah, do a watch party. This is something I'm learning is that, share information. So have people come over to your house to watch it together,
Yeah, let's do it.
And if Armageddon starts, you know who to kill right first.
That's right.
Carrier pigeons. That's what we need. Carrier pigeons.
I know, Robin, we got to get the startup for that. Carrier pigeons are the way of the future.
And Victory Gardens and carrier pigeons. It's my new thing.
That's your new thing. Okay, so here we go. I just pulled it up. You're seeing it, right?
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Premiere is May 2nd through the 7th. You can purchase tickets. I think there's a few theaters. We're in the metro Atlanta area. And then just go to the website. It's 2000mules.com. You can pre-order. There's a book, there's a DVD, there's a virtual watch party on Saturday. They're going to do a live Q&A. So, it's worth exploring. I personally, I've seen enough out there to I know that election was stolen. I don't question it. I just hope other people are willing to look at the data.
Was it enough to overturn the election? I guess that's the ending. We'll figure out. If it's true Which, I mean, come on, cell phone data. Hey, did you hear the CDC admitted that they were tracking us during COVID to see if we were obeying quarantine orders?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember a lot of that coming out, and I would start to see different things on my phone. I'm like, that's weird. I don't remember that little thing before. But yeah, it's.
Did you agree to that? Did you agree to the CDC?
No, but somehow I must have.
I don't remember.
I must have clicked on an app that they just slipped it in the terms and conditions that I never actually read. And they're like, well, no, you actually agreed to it. Do you see? There
you go, $1 million idea. Carrier pigeons, and then also doing some sort of sat phones.
Oh, well, I am ready to probably get off of. Yeah. We got to go back to flip phones. We might need to regress a little bit to get ahead.
I was thinking that was my prayer for a while, is that there would be like an Amish movement in the millennials, that they would eschew, like say no to technology and go back to like getting to know people face to face. Because if anything, we've broken down to where people don't even have good relationships anymore because it's all through this.
And you know what's really crazy? Like you and I both, you definitely, because that's kind of your job as a social media marketer. You can be on this so much, and I've done it. Like I am so like in it, and then I go out into the world, and I'm like, why? God, everyone's so happy.
I know. I went camping this weekend, and like my phone didn't work. Signal worked a little bit better than others, just so you know. But yeah. It's amazing. Like I was supposed to go check the weather for our campsite, and I went to the one place in the campgrounds that had Wi-Fi, and I was there for 30 minutes, and I did a whole bunch of other stuff, and I started to walk back, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I was supposed to check the weather.
Yeah.
But I was so distracted by like, ooh, I can connect again.
Yeah. But I think there's definitely a connection between learning to find that balance. It's so good to be connected and do deep dives, but then kind of you got to know when to just walk away and just be in the moment with family, friends. And you know what? God's got us no matter what. We know how it ends. We've read Revelations. It works out good for our team. So
we're trying to save people's health and, make them aware of what's going on out there for long term. But, are we saving souls? That's
all right. Let's go. The harvest is plentiful. People are hungry. People are searching. We have the answers. Let's not get too distracted that because you got to be kind. There's a lot of people, they are not awake, and that's okay.
Right.
Jesus wasn't that. All the topics we discuss sometimes are not the most important topics. We know the most important one is salvation.
Going to heaven. I want to go to heaven.
Yeah, me too.
I want to spend eternity with my family. That's it.
Yeah. I know. Well, God bless. And this was good. And boop, boop, boop. All right. We're out. Angry Comics. Okay. Robin O'Brien and Jennifer O'Brien. Next week, Tim will be back with us. Let's hope. All right. That's a beautiful face.